The Mandalorian executive producer Dave Filoni recently admitted when he was first pitched the idea of Baby Yoda, he did not think it was a good idea. This is what he had to say during the Disney Gallery, Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1, Making of Season 3. He said, "What puts a measure on your story is how creative can you be? We try to give the audience something that they've never seen before." He then used Baby Yoda or Grogu as an example, saying, like in Season 1, John wants to make a Baby Yoda. I'm like, what? Why? Why would we do this? That sounds like not a good idea. And as much as I criticize Filoni, I actually think his instincts were right here. I do think the idea of Baby Yoda was a bad idea. And we've seen that why it was a bad idea, given the fact that the character is pretty much just a gimmick now. And they've gotten themselves lost in this idea that Mando and Baby Yoda need to be together, because that is what now their show is, rather than what I think the original idea of the show was supposed to be, basically about the Mandalorian by himself, Din Djarin by himself, going out, maybe running afoul of the Empire, running afoul of the New Republic, running afoul of the various cartels out there, the Hutt cartel, the Pike Syndicate, etc., maybe doing jobs for them, and basically seeing him kind of interact in kind of like the grimy underworld of Star Wars. And we never really got to see that. Instead, it turned into the show about Din Djarin in the first season just basically protecting Baby Yoda after he turns him over to the Empire. He gets him back, and then they're on the run, and he's protecting him. And then he's like, we got to put a stop to these guys because I'm tired of being on the run. So he goes on the offensive. And then in the second season, it's all about returning Baby Yoda to the Jedi. And so it's all about, the season turned into everything was revolving around Baby Yoda and Grogu, rather than actually being focused on Din Djarin and what he was doing out there on the Outer Rim. Nevertheless, Filoni goes on and says, but you put that initial fear aside and you say, okay, well, let's really examine this. And I was like, John, if you're going to do this, I'm going to be there with you, because I know Yoda's one of George's favorite characters and we cannot mess this up. But I also knew John a bit as a filmmaker, and I know he's got a great heart and a great sensibility for telling stories that are meaningful to people, and that maybe this little child could turn out to be something special. But we didn't even think it was going to be a puppet the whole time. We thought it'd be CG. John's coming off of making Lion King and Jungle Book, where the CG is practically unparalleled with its believability. And here it is, we got Werner Herzog telling us, no, believe in the puppet, and well, the world did. And I do think the world did believe in the puppet for the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. But as I stated previously, I think that shine has worn off. I think people have gotten tired of Baby Yoda. They've gotten tired of Grogu. They do see him as a gimmick. I see him as a gimmick. He basically just shows up to bail Din Djarin out of danger that he's in by using the Force. And that's pretty much all he's good for now. He doesn't really have any other purpose. And I do want to point out that I think Jon Favreau did indeed want to pitch a story focusing on The Mandalorian. I mean, that's what he pitched. This is from 2018, an Instagram post. He said, after the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, clearly implying that this was going to be another bounty hunter. He's referencing Jango and Boba Fett. We know that they were bounty hunters, so that's what he's already telling us. That's what we should expect. That's what they are telling us what to expect. And it says, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter, not a gunfighter protecting a baby. Like, lone gunfighter. That's what we were told. In the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. And then we get Rick Famuyiwa in this same episode of Making of Season 3. He also admits that the show was originally supposed to be about a bounty of the week. This is what he had to say. He said the first season of The Mandalorian was really about just these simple stories that were going to be about a bounty of the week. We never got that. Aside from the first episode, the beginning of the first episode, we never got that at all. The introduction of Baby Yoda completely derailed the show from what it was supposed to be, and I think that has been a detriment to the show because they got stuck on this Baby Yoda storyline. They got bought in by their own hype, and it hurt them. Season 3 proves this. I think people were not interested in what was going on with Season 3 because they got themselves twisted in a bunch because they were like, we have to keep Baby Yoda with Mandalorian. He's got to come back even though we sent him off to Luke. And they brought it back, and then they had to replace Din Djarin because he was just all attached to Baby Yoda. And the storytelling fell off the deep end for a lot of people. I thought the storytelling was already rough in seasons 1 and season 2, but a lot of people finally kind of saw what I'd been seeing in season 1 and season 2, and it just completely tanked with that because the Baby Yoda storyline was over. The storyline that they should have gone back to Din, basically going back, doing bounty hunting stuff, and that's what they should have done. And that's what we were promised, and we never got it. And so I think actually Dave Filoni was right with his instincts here. As much as I criticize him, the Grogu was a bad idea. Baby Yoda was a bad idea. And I think we're seeing that truth in front of us now.